We end tonight with the clearest pictures yet of Neptune, the most distant planet in our solar system. Take a look. The striking infrared images were taken this summer by the James Webb Space Telescope.
The James Webb Telescope has just captured something unthinkable, evidence that a gigantic object has slammed into Neptune, sending shockwaves across the solar system. Scientists are stunned, data is pouring in, and the implications are terrifying. What collided with Neptune? And could the same fate one day strike Earth? Far beyond the warmth of the sun, where daylight fades into an endless twilight, Neptune drifts in near silence. It is the forgotten giant of our solar system, a world cloaked in mystery, spinning in the icy darkness more than 2.7 billion miles from Earth. Here, winds roar faster than bullets, storms swell larger than our entire planet, and an atmosphere of hydrogen, helium, and methane paints the globe in ghostly blue. It is a place few humans think about, and even fewer understand. A frozen colossus at the edge of our cosmic neighborhood. For centuries, Neptune has remained elusive, its secrets veiled by distance and shadow. We've caught fleeting glimpses, from telescopes and the single flyby of Voyager 2 in 1989, but since then, it has been little more than a blur in the darkness, a reminder of how much of our solar system remains unknown. While we marvel at Mars or obsess over Saturn's rings, Neptune has waited in silence, unobserved, unchanging, or so we thought. Because suddenly, the James Webb Space Telescope turned its infrared gaze toward this distant planet. And in a matter of moments, the quiet, frozen world revealed something extraordinary, something no one could have predicted. It began with a flicker, an unexpected flash captured in Webb's sensitive instruments as its infrared sensors swept across Neptune's hazy clouds. At first it looked like nothing more than an anomaly, a brief distortion of light that might easily be dismissed as background noise. But within seconds the signal grew stronger. Bright streaks illuminated parts of Neptune's atmosphere that should have been silent and cold, glowing as if a hidden furnace had suddenly ignited beneath the planet's icy skin. Scientists monitoring the live feed leaned closer, unable to believe what they were seeing. Neptune, normally so still and unchanging in human observation, appeared alive with motion. Data streams revealed surges of heat rippling through its upper atmosphere, patterns of methane absorption twisted in ways no model had ever predicted. Even more unsettling, faint arcs, like expanding shockwaves, spread outward into the darkness, as though some invisible hand had struck the planet with unimaginable force. The question formed immediately: what could cause such chaos in a world so distant, so undisturbed for eons? There had been no warning, no approaching body tracked by existing surveys, no indication of danger. One moment Neptune was silent. The next, it was reeling. It was too sudden, too violent, too precise. Analysts double-checked, recalibrated, and replayed the footage. Yet every time the same conclusion emerged: something gigantic had slammed into Neptune, and Webb had captured the aftermath in real time. But this wasn't just a random blip in data. It looked like a full-blown collision. The first scientists to see the data were stunned into silence. For several tense minutes, conference calls across NASA and the European Space Agency carried little more than gasps and hurried recalculations. Some suspected a glitch, others a misreading of Webb's instruments, but the numbers refused to bend. Neptune's atmosphere had been struck by something colossal. Cautious statements soon followed. Officials spoke carefully about anomalous atmospheric activity and unexpected heat signatures, refusing to use the word collision until more evidence could be verified. But outside those controlled rooms, the story had already escaped. Within hours, headlines blared across the globe. Gigantic object slams Neptune. Webb witnesses catastrophic impact. Is the solar system in danger? The media frenzy was unstoppable. Meanwhile, behind closed doors, scientists traded theories and whispers. Some compared the event to Earth's most infamous disaster, the Chicxulub asteroid, the impact that ended the dinosaurs. Imagine that, one astronomer muttered, but magnified 1,000 times, slamming into an ice giant. The idea sent a chill through even the most seasoned researchers. Still, others pushed back, urging caution. Extraordinary claims demand extraordinary proof, they reminded colleagues, worried about sensationalism. Yet the images were too vivid, the thermal spikes too sharp to ignore. Webb's eye had caught something beyond ordinary science. And so the question hung heavily in the air, both terrifying and irresistible. If Neptune had indeed been struck, what on Earth, or beyond it, could possibly be large enough to deliver such a blow? In the days that followed, speculation exploded almost as fast as the shock waves Webb had recorded. The most grounded theory was that a rogue comet, one of the countless icy bodies drifting in the Kuiper Belt, had strayed off course and slammed into Neptune. Such objects are known to wander, and while most disintegrate quietly in the void, a larger one could unleash devastation if it struck a planet head-on. Others argued it may have been something far bigger, a fragment of a dwarf planet perhaps, a piece of Pluto-sized rock shattered long ago, now wandering through space like a cosmic wrecking ball. If true, the sheer scale of the impact would rival some of the most catastrophic collisions in solar system history. But then came the stranger theories. Some scientists noted eerie similarities to the path of Oumuamua, the interstellar visitor, that baffled experts in 2017 with its elongated shape and mysterious acceleration. Could Neptune have been struck by another interstellar traveler, something from beyond our system entirely? The idea was electrifying and terrifying, and in the corners of the internet where speculation thrives, whispers grew louder. What if it wasn't natural at all? What if the object was artificial, a fragment of some ancient machine, or worse, a deliberate strike from an unknown origin? Outlandish, yes, but the sheer mystery of Neptune's sudden wound left space for imagination to spiral. Still, all of these theories had one flaw. None fully explained the strange aftermath Webb was about to uncover, because then, new data turned everything upside down. At first, analysts expected the chaos to fade quickly. Impacts, even massive ones, released their energy in an instant, leaving behind debris and temporary scars. But Webb's instruments kept streaming back something deeply unsettling. The aftermath wasn't fading, it was intensifying. Hours after the suspected strike, Neptune's upper atmosphere was still glowing with unnatural heat, as though an invisible furnace had been lit. Beneath its icy clouds, thermal maps showed vast plumes of warmth climbing through the atmosphere, refusing to dissipate, stubbornly clinging to the planet like a wound that would not close. Then came something even stranger. Webb's delicate measurements revealed ripples, spreading outward, subtle yet undeniable waves radiating through space. At first they seemed like shock fronts from the collision, but the patterns were too uniform, too rhythmic, almost as though Neptune itself was resonating like a struck bell. The vibrations carried outward, brushing against the planet's faint rings. Observers watched in disbelief as those delicate bands began to shift, distorting ever so slightly, bending under forces they could not explain. If this was merely the result of an asteroid impact, why was Neptune still shaking long after the blow? And why did the disturbances resemble pulses rather than random turbulence? Something about the event seemed less like destruction and more like transformation. Neptune had not simply been hit. It had been altered. And if a gas giant could be scarred so profoundly, then a chilling question emerged. What would happen if such an event were ever repeated closer to home, in the fragile realm of Earth? The implications of Neptune's collision ripple far beyond the distant ice giant itself. If a massive object could appear seemingly out of nowhere and strike a planet on the edge of our solar system, then what does that say about our ability to protect worlds closer to home? Astronomers admit that despite decades of searching, we are still blind to vast stretches of the outer solar system. Rogue comets and icy bodies wander in darkness, untracked, unpredictable, and potentially catastrophic. Neptune's fate is a stark reminder that our planetary neighborhood is far from safe. Consider the domino effect. If such an object could drift inward, Uranus might be next, or Saturn, or even Jupiter. And though those gas giants might absorb the impact, what about Earth? Our fragile blue world lacks the massive shielding atmospheres of the giants. A strike here would not just scar a planet. It could end civilization as we know it. This is why scientists are calling for urgent investment in planetary defense. From advanced tracking systems to deflection technologies, space exploration, once framed as a quest for curiosity, suddenly feels like a matter of survival. Because if Webb has revealed anything, it is that the cosmos is far more chaotic and far more dangerous than we dared to believe. And as the world stares at Neptune's scars, one haunting thought lingers. What Webb has seen on Neptune may just be the beginning. In the silent void where no sound can travel, Neptune turns slowly, scarred by a force beyond human comprehension. The giant remains mute, but its atmosphere still whispers of the violence it endured, glowing faintly with the echoes of impact. To us, it may seem like a distant spectacle, a drama playing out billions of miles away, but in truth, it is a reminder, written in cosmic fire. The universe is sculpted by collisions. Every world we know, even our own Earth, was shaped by these violent encounters. Without them, there might be no moon, no continents, perhaps not even life itself. Creation and destruction are bound together in the same cosmic dance. And yet, knowing that truth does little to ease the unease. Because if Neptune, a massive giant shielded by distance and size, can be wounded so suddenly, what protection do we have? Humanity is small, fragile, and exposed, living under a sky filled with unseen travelers. Some carry ice, others rock, and some perhaps secrets we are not ready to understand. So as Webb's data continues to ripple across the scientific world, the question remains as heavy as the planet it now haunts. If something gigantic just collided with Neptune, then the real question is, what's heading our way next?